All right. Good evening, everybody. It is Friday, February 17th. We are so happy to see you today on the Atlanta News First Alert desk. We have your top 5 stories for tonight at 8 p.m. Everything that you need to know before you head out for a night on the town, maybe, or before you wind down after a really long week. We have a good mix here of some local stories, some national stories that you probably want to keep up on as well, and a lot of really good stuff here. I want to start, though, with something that has really been pretty impactful here over in the Atlanta metro area. If you look over to DeKalb County, this has been a story we've been following for a couple of years now, and it's one that is capturing the attention of a lot of people. On your screen here, you're looking at Matthew Zadok Williams, and this is a man who was shot and killed by DeKalb County police officers back in 2021. Now, a DeKalb County family is suing those officers, or not the officers, they're suing DeKalb County for shooting and killing Williams. The family says the county is responsible for an overreaction to a man in the middle of a health crisis. So that's what the big news here today. This family says this is a systemic problem, which is why they're not directly suing the officers and why they're deciding to sue the family instead. And they say the county violated the American Disabilities Act. Now, I want to show you some video here. This shows the circumstances leading up to the shooting of Matthew Zadok Williams. Williams was just 35 years old when he was shot and killed by a DeKalb County police officer April 12th of 2021. DeKalb police responded to a 911 call from his apartment. It's unclear if officers knew it was his apartment at the time, but what you're looking at here is the body camera video. If you look closely, you can see Williams is holding a knife. Officers repeatedly asked Williams to drop that knife. He did not listen. Instead, he actually ran back into his apartment. Later, the officers busted in before shooting him. So now his family also claims that DeKalb officers responded to a similar distress call from Williams just about a month earlier at this very same location. They think that the officers should have acted with more restraint in handling a mental health crisis. And so today in a press conference, they announced this federal lawsuit. His sister said that she hopes this sparks changes amongst the county and the way that they operate here. So we did reach out to DeKalb County as well as DeKalb County Police. We have not heard back, but we did ask some questions about their protocols for mental health emergencies. And we're still waiting to hear back, but as soon as we get that information, we'll be sure to update you as soon as it becomes available. For another story, this is pretty frustrating for a lot of people who live in the metro Atlanta area. I feel like some parts have just been pummeled with some severe weather, and that was the case again today over in Troup County. So the National Weather Service confirmed a tornado touched down in LaGrange. That's about an hour southwest of Atlanta. And get this, it's the second tornado to hit Troup County this year. You can see some of the damage here. You're looking at part of LaGrange High School, fencing and bricks ripped down. Here is the health department. You can see that roof ripped off. We also had some video earlier in this which showed a tree on top of a home, and there are several trees, in fact, in this area, totally uprooted. Really unfortunate situation here. This is an EF1 tornado that is the National Weather Service just confirmed to us. And they also tell us winds reached up to 90 miles per hour for about 5.8 miles. A lot of damage to certain parts of this area. Definitely not something you want to be dealing with on your Friday as you head into the weekend. Hearts go out to everybody who's impacted by this. Now, we do have Atlanta News First reporter Tyree Cooper, who is in LaGrange tonight. She's been speaking with some of the people who have been seriously impacted. I know we just showed you video of a tree on top of a home. Well, Tyree actually spoke to a homeowner who shares her incredible story. And this is not something that you want to miss. We're going to have that story for you coming up tonight on Atlanta News First at 9 and 10 on Peachtree TV, and then at 11 o'clock on WANF as well. So hopefully you can join us for that, because it is a pretty harrowing tale, and I'm excited to share it with you guys, and I know Tori is as well. All right, if we're moving right along to a national story here, this has gained a lot of attention over the past several weeks here. We're talking about the follow of Tyree Nichols and all of the fallout that has been occurring. Most recently, 5 Memphis officers charged in connection to Tyree Nichols' death plead not guilty. This happened today in the Shelby County Criminal Court in Tennessee. It's been about 2 months since cameras captured the 5 officers brutally beating Nichols. Remember, Nichols is a 29-year-old black man after he was pulled over for a traffic stop. Those officers face several charges. They include second-degree murder, aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping, official misconduct, and official oppression. Now, in that courtroom today, making things extra emotional, Nichols' family was there, and it was a very tense situation. Shelby County District Attorney is reviewing right now up to 100 different cases related to the Scorpion unit. That's the unit that these 5 officers were part of. And again, this is a developing story. We will continue to follow a lot of fallout here. All eyes really on those 5 officers and on what's happening in Memphis in that courtroom. And we'll, of course, continue to keep you updated on everything that is coming out of that case. All right. Let's bring it back here to Atlanta for our 4th story tonight. This is something I think a lot of you might be excited about. Whenever there's a big event here in Atlanta, there is always the opportunity for our city to make some serious cash. And not just the city of Atlanta. Really, if you look at Georgia as a whole, whenever we have big events here, you look at it as an opportunity financially. And that is the case if we look ahead to 2024, the presidential primary. I know that sounds like it's far away, but it's really right around the corner. And some officials are actually pushing to move up when Georgia votes in the presidential primary. This would have a huge impact on all of us. Georgia could bring in as much as $200 million by becoming one of the first places to hold a presidential contest. It would potentially have twice the economic impact of events like the Super Bowl or the All-Star Game, which we already know are huge for our state. The earlier primary means more candidates would spend more money on office space, staff, supplies, hotel, food, transport, all that good stuff. And typically, that amount of money they would spend goes down as candidates drop out. That's why there is a push to have it a little bit earlier so we can make some more money for our state. Now, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger has addressed this, and he actually indicated it is unlikely this could happen. And with the possibility of a Democratic National Convention also coming to Atlanta, there is still a good chance that our area will see a great economic impact following this 2024 presidential season. So we'll continue to keep our eyes on that. It's a really exciting time. Politics are always crazy here in Georgia. So a lot to look forward to as we get closer and closer to that presidential election and presidential primary. All right, final story for tonight, something that we have been tracking. We have a lot of stories tonight, which we've been tracking for months and months and months, and up to years even. And that's the case with our final story tonight. I know it's one that you guys have been so invested in, which is why I really want to talk about the Atlanta Police Training, Safety Training Facility here. We have a new development with this, and I'll go ahead and show you some video of where the site is proposed to be. But earlier this week, there was a restraining order filed that would have prevented or stalled construction on the Atlanta Police Training Facility. You might also know this training center as Cop City. That's what critics call it. Well, today we have a development where a Fulton County Superior Court judge denied a temporary restraining order. This restraining order was filed by Edward Terry, Amy Taylor, and the South River Watershed Alliance. They filed that again earlier this month, and they argued the facility would pollute Entrenchment Creek. Now, Fulton County Judge Thomas A. Cox totally disagreed. He found the argument, quote, entirely speculative. He also said the building and the facility would serve a greater purpose to the Atlanta Police and Fire Departments. Now, plaintiffs will continue to coordinate, and they will actually pay for daily inspections to the area. These inspections will ensure the construction follows the land displacement permit issued by DeKalb County. But overall, there has been so much back and forth when it comes to this police training facility. We know that it was really just a matter of weeks ago that a protester was shot and killed during a shootout with Georgia State Patrol troopers that happened on January 18th. So almost exactly 1 month ago. And that protester shot and killed sparked several protests here in the Atlanta area and also all throughout the country as well. And this is just really the latest development. We know that there have been people protesting that police training facility for years now. So a lot of people really fired up about this. I have no doubt that this will not be the final development in this whole situation. So as we continue to follow this, stick with us. Atlanta News First. We will, of course, bring you all the updates, everything you need to know, whether you're for it, against it, or have no opinion on it. We have got you covered. All right, I know that's a lot to take in, and I hope that you are ready for a chilly night tonight. Let's see if we can show you a beautiful shot of our Metro Atlanta skyline. Here, you know, you can just tell by looking at this picture, it is a cold night. It's one of those nights where you look outside and you're like, I see the clouds in the sky. I think I want to stay in tonight. That's what I'm going to do. And we have First Alert meteorologist Fred Companion joining us now with a look at the forecast. And Fred, if you do go outside, you want to bring several jackets.
Well, Savannah, I agree with you. It is cold out there. Things have changed quite a bit in the last 24 hours. So good evening, everyone. And I've got your update tonight. We're going to start by talking about how we started the day, which is with the tornado. So early on today, before dawn, we had a tornado come through Troup County, came right through LaGrange. Let's get a look at the map here just so that I can show it to you. It was, let's just say, kind of unexpected. It did not come during a severe thunderstorm or a tornado warning. So this came through, did some damage. Thankfully, no injuries with this. Let's get a look at it. Of course, Troup County, southwest of Atlanta, and we're going to zoom right on into it, about where it started. So that white line is going to indicate where it started. It was an EF0 tornado, excuse me, an EF1 tornado. I have 0 on there, but my apologies. EF1 tornado, winds of 90 miles per hour, and it was from, well, that graphic's all kinds of wrong. It was 431 to 438. The initial report from the Weather Service is off by an hour, but it's 4:31 to 4:38 a.m. and it was right near the airport. Then it went by LaGrange College. It went through a baseball complex, continued off to the northeast. This thing was on the ground for 5.8 miles with a 200-yard wide path of destruction, uprooted some trees, caused some damage to some signs, and things like that, and some businesses in LaGrange. So I will have another update on that coming up on Peachtree TV at 9, 10 o'clock tonight. We'll look at it again at 11 on Atlanta News First on WANF. But that small tornado had a pretty long path of nearly 6 miles, 200 yards wide, with max winds estimated at 90 miles per hour. So here's what the radar looked like early this morning, and we have LaGrange on the map, and you can see that squall line coming through. During that squall line, we actually had a wind gust to 71 miles per hour at Hartsfield Jackson. That is actually pretty close to hurricane strength winds coming through with that squall line. So that's remarkable. All right, let's get another look here at the radar at the wind velocity. So LaGrange is right in the center of your screen. I'll put this into motion, and it just looks like a straight line. As it gets close to LaGrange, you can notice just the smallest little hint of a kink in that line. That's where you got the tornado spinning up. Eventually you see that yellow box show up. The National Weather Service down in Peachtree City, they do a great job. As soon as they saw that kink, it was too late as far as it was concerned in LaGrange, but they issued a severe thunderstorm warning, as you can see, that extended to near Griffin as that storm continued right along. But after the storm moved out, it's been nothing but a lot of cold air coming in. Look at the wind gusts right now. Wind advisory is in effect until 1 in the morning. Atlanta, Canton, Gainesville, Athens, all in the wind advisory. It's gusting to 40 miles an hour right now at Hartsfield Jackson, and the temperatures, they are in the 30s, so it feels colder than freezing out there. No flurries showing up. Look at the 24-hour temperature difference. Incredible. 28 to 34 degrees colder than we were at this time yesterday when we were in the upper 60s, and now we're in the mid and upper 30s. So an incredible temperature change, and it feels even colder. It feels 40-plus degrees colder than it did 24 hours ago. Right now in Atlanta, the wind chill is a bitter 26. So Mother Nature just letting us know winter ain't over yet, although I will tell you there's plenty of warm weather to talk about in the 7-day forecast. That temperature gets down to freezing and colder overnight, 30 in Atlanta, 20s outside of the perimeter. So a very cold start on Saturday and a chilly afternoon. We'll come up shy of what's the normal high temperature for this time of the year, which is 59. It'll be in the mid-50s with a lot of sunshine and a lighter wind tomorrow. See that about 55 to 57 across North Georgia. So not a bad day, really, but just cold, chilly for this time of the year. Sunday looks warmer, and we'll keep that trend going. Look at the high temperature trend here into early next week, 70 plus. Monday through Thursday. Some showers around on Tuesday. Doesn't look like widespread rain. So we will not be first alerting that just yet, but we'll keep an eye on Tuesday. And not far from 80 degrees. Wednesday and Thursday back-to-back going to be the warmest days likely that we've seen so far this year. And we may make a run up to around the record high temperature by Thursday or Friday afternoon. So definitely looking at some very warm weather coming our way in the longer term once we get through the start of this weekend. But a chill out there tonight. Temperatures below freezing into the 20s in many spots overnight to start out our weekend. All right, an update for you coming up on Atlanta News First. That is on Peachtree TV at 9 o'clock. I'll have you from 9 until 11 on Peachtree TV and then on WANF after that. Have a great weekend.